Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Rona Khawat Syafiqah binti Sulaiman. My matric card number is DIL 19-2005. So in this video, me and my friend would like to present about the regulation of marketing, advertising and sales promotion. Advertisement, as stated in the Communication and Multimedia Content Forum of Malaysia Content Code, has been defined an announcement of a public nature, whether for the sale or purchase or provision of goods or service or constitution of an invitation to participate in an activity and conveyed by or through any signage, image or sound disseminated through electronic medium for advertising purpose. Law regulating advertisement in Malaysia, since it is very difficult to control a huge industry of advertisement in Malaysia, certain law was introduced to govern the advertisement activity. However, it is important to be noted here that no specific act was codified to regulate advertisement in Malaysia. It is important to note here that there are a lot of rules and regulations on the advertisement in Malaysia. The guidelines as to what should be done and what should be prohibited in advertising was extensively touched. However, still there are a lot of improvement should be done, especially in protecting consumers against bad advertisements, and the section of penalty should also be highlighted in each act and regulation. Another part which is also important to be emphasized here is on the part of enforcement, whereby there are still a lot of bad advertisement are still publicly advertised in Malaysia, and the numbers are increasing day by day.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Najwa Nurul Dilaida binti Samsul and my matric card number is DIL 192003. Okay, so next, definition. Definition of marketing. Marketing refers to activities a company undertakes to promote the buying or selling of a product or service. Marketing includes advertising, selling and delivering products to consumers or other businesses. Some marketing is done by affiliates on behalf of a company. Professionals who work in a corporation's marketing and promotion department seek to get the attention of key potential audiences through advertising. Promotions are targeted to certain audience and may involve celebrity endorsements, catchy phrase or slogans, memorable packaging or graphic designs, and overall media exposure. Okay, next, definition of advertising. Advertising is the techniques and practice used to bring products, services, opinions, or causes to public notice for the purpose of persuading the public to respond in a certain way toward what is advertised. Most advertising involves promoting a good that is for sale, but similar methods are used to encourage people to drive safely, to support various charities, or to vote for political candidates, among many other examples. In many countries, advertising is the most important source of income for the media, such as newspaper, magazines, or television stations, through which it is conducted. In the non-communist world, advertising has become a large and important service industry. Since it is very difficult to control a huge industry of advertisement, in Malaysia certain laws was introduced to govern advertisement activity. However, it is important to be noted here that no specific act was codified to regulate advertisement in Malaysia. Okay, for example, for the first act is the Communications and Multimedia Act 1998. It is the principal legislation that regulates online activities in Malaysia, but the act only regulates online advertisement licensed under it. Pursuant to the act, the Malaysian Communication and Multimedia Commission, or MCMC, was established as a self-regulatory body with the responsibility to enforce the communications and multimedia laws in Malaysia. The MCMC promotes self-regulation through the establishment of industry forums and codes. The principal code is the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Content Code. Next, the second act is Trade Description Act 1972. The Act provides the guidelines used in the field of advertising. It is a criminal statute which deals specifically with the false or misleading statements in the supply of goods and service. It was stated that no limitation as to provide information in the advertisement as long as it is a true information. Okay, according to Section 7A, a person who directly or indirectly offers to supply the goods or services and or the person on whose behalf the advertisement is made is deemed to have applied a trade description. Therefore, in the case of a third-party website, liability can arise on both the owner of the website and marketer. Other than false trade description, the Act by virtue of Section 15, which stated that any person in the trade, business, or provide through any means any direct or indirect indication that any goods or services rendered or in any manner that falsely took, including the government department, has committed an offence. Also prohibits false reprint. Next, definition of sales promotion. Sales promotion means techniques intended for broad consumer participation which contains promises of gains such as prizes in cash or in kind as reward for the purchase of a product, security, service, or winning in contest, game, tournament, and other similar competitions which involve determination of winners and which utilize mass media or other widespread media of information. It also means techniques purely intended to increase the sales, patronage, and goodwill of a product.
My name is Zaidatu Shamilam Dizakbar. My matric card number is DIL192006. So I will continue with the features of regulation of marketing, advertising, and self-promotion practice under consumer law in Malaysia. Consumers enter into various types of contracts to supply goods or service in their daily lives. The consumer market is very biased. Therefore, the call for consumer protection is inevitable. Today, consumers need to be equipped with a high level of consumer knowledge and skills to keep abreast of market developments, which is needed to empower them to act better, make effective decisions, and ensure they become more powerful, smart, and resilient. Malaysia is a conservative nation, and with Islam being the official religion of the country, advertisers must be careful not to include elements which are regarded as haram or forbidden under Islamic laws. While it would be impossible to provide an exhaustive list, the following are some elements that should be avoided. For example, is cigarette, tobacco, and its accessory, occult and fortune tellers, clothing with inappropriate words or symbols, sexually explicit, indecent, or immoral content such as kissing and immodest clothing, pornography, LGBT and cross-dressing elements, gambling, marriage agency and friendship clubs, pig, pork product and its derivative, alcoholic drinks and liquor, disco scenes and places of worship and other religion symbols or content. Next is feature of marketing are customer focus and customer satisfaction. Firstly, customer focus. The marketing function of a business is customer centered. It attempts to study the customer needs and goods produced accordingly. The business existence depends on the human needs. Secondly, customer satisfaction. A customer expects some service or benefits from the product for which payment made. If this benefit is more than the amount paid, then the customer is satisfied. In the end, customer satisfaction helps to retain market demand. It helps achieve organizational objectives. Sometimes, even with all the marketing knowledge and professional on marketing team, the planning does not always mean it will exempted from bad marketing. After all, everyone are all prone to mistake. Not being able to identify and rectify signs of failure or weak points in the marketing campaign is a sure recipe for disaster. In addition, sometimes it is just unavoidable. Thank you. So I will pass to the next presenter.
As referred to the Consumer Protection Act, which is Bid Advertising Section 13, Subsection 1, no person shall advertise for supply at a specific price, goods or services which that person A. does not intend to offer for supply, or B. does not have reasonable grounds for believing that can be supplied at the price for a period that is and in quantities that are reasonable, having regard to the nature of the market in which the person carries on business and the nature of the advertisement. In subsection 2, in a prosecution for a failure to offer goods or service to a consumer in accordance with subsection 1, it shall be a defense if the person charged prove that A. he offered to supply or to procure another person to supply to the consumer within a reasonable time goods or service of the kind advertised in a reasonable quantity and at the advertised price, and where the offer is accepted by the consumer, that the person have so supplied or procured another person to supply the goods or service. B. He offered to supply to the consumer immediately or to procure another person to supply to the consumer within a reasonable time. Equivalent goods or service in a reasonable quantity and at the advertised price, and where the offer is accepted by the consumer, that the person has so supplied or procured another person to supply such equivalent goods or service. For the next act is Section 150 subsection 1, which is regulation. The minister may make such regulation as may be necessary or expedient for the purpose of carrying into effect the provision of this act. And subsection 2, in particular and without prejudice to the generality of subsection 1, such regulation may A. prescribe in respect of good or service of any description or of any class or classes to goods or service a consumer information standard concerning any or all of the following matters, which is first, finish, packaging, promotion or supply of the goods or service, and the secondly is the form or manner in which the information is to be disclosed or on in relation to or in connection with the supply. First, the disclosure of information relating to the kind, grade, quantity, origin, performance, care, composition, contents, design, construction, use, price, or resupply or promotion of the supply of the goods or service. That's all from me. Thank you. Pursuant to the statutory directive, FDA issued the proposed rule seeking comment on the 36 potential image for the new graphic warning labels, required warnings for the cigarette package and advertisement, hereinafter proposed the rule. At the outset of the proposed rule, FDA asserted the government's substantial interest in the reducing the number of the Americans, particularly children and adolescents, who use cigarette and other tobacco products in order to prevent the life-threatening health and consequences associated by tobacco use. In accordance with the requirements of the Act, FDA proposed a dramatic expansion of the existing health warning, which is justified based on scientific literature and the strong worldwide consensus regarding to the relative effectiveness of graphic warnings compared to the text-only warnings the United States currently requires LD. The agency explained by the clearly and effectively conveying the negative health consequence of smoking, the new warnings would discourage non-smokers, particularly minors, from initiating cigarette use and encourage current smokers to quit.
A very good morning to madam and my fellow classmates. My name is Shine and my metric number is DIL201050. Today I'll be presenting about my part, which is the examples and also the conclusion. So let me start with the examples. A company such as Giant Hypermarket has a 7-day policy where you may return the product brought if it doesn't fulfill your standards. And the consumers can make their complaints to the customer hotline. Companies such as Apple also have a refund or exchange policy that is valid for 14 days. The product needs to be brought directly from Apple and all the parts should be there. Samsung also has a policy where customers can return goods with defects and they can do that within 7 days of delivery. If the product is cracked or dent, the request to return should be made 24 hours after purchasing the product. So next I'm going to talk about some of the marketing done to gain more customers by certain companies. For example, number one, cosmetic brands. We all know cosmetic brands like to target female customers, female consumers, and they feature models and also singers and celebrities to promote their makeup and their female products. As for male products, products such as shaving cream, men's grooming product, these products are targeted towards men, so the companies will use athletes or people who are respected by the male consumers. Usually if they will use a footballer or a very famous athlete in a different sport. Lastly, when companies are targeting children as their consumer, they will put colorful themes in their advertisements. They will have songs in their advertisements. For example, they will put songs that will attract the children, like Baby Shark, and also they will make sure that the colors are very colorful so the children likes the toys more. So those are some of the examples of marketing. Companies such as Lazada, they use a very creative marketing strategy. For example, they will give discount every month. They will give discount on certain days. For example, the 1st of January, 2nd of February. Also, as we know, we have many advertisements such as Jualan Lazada, 12, so they will have a discount on very specific dates, and they will make sure they will use a lot of celebrities in an ad to promote that date. So that is one of the examples of good advertisement and marketing. Also Shopee is another company that use celebrities such as Jackie Chan, Cristiano Ronaldo to promote their product. So these are all types of marketing. In conclusion, consumers have a right and they are protected by laws in Malaysia. This is to ensure that companies do not take advantage of their customers and consumers. Redressing is a procedure that allows customers to gain compensation, and marketing is a very important tool to increase the revenue and profit of a company. And marketing also increases the image of a brand and makes it more famous and well known. And that's it for my part. Thank you very much.